I think we're going. So we're just going to set it up there and hope for the best. I think that'll be fine.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll be in the way of the picture. I appreciate you guys letting me come here because I am taking a class called Public Speaking Online. And it's really hard to find the public to speak to when you're doing a class online. So I got the idea from the library to come and ask you if I could do this since I was doing it on clay ovens. So that's how I got started. So I'm Jonetta Zerby, and I'm going to give you my presentation on how I made a clay oven this summer and enjoyed every minute of it. So this is what we're going to go for. So I've always enjoyed making bread. I've always loved it. Everybody asked me, do you have a bread maker? I said, I have two. Because if you can't touch it, why make it? You know what I mean? It's an art thing. You want to feel it. And that's the way clay is. So I thought, well, when I got my house, I finally bought my first house, and I wanted to build a fire feature that they always talk about on these shows, you know. But I didn't want just a fire pit. Why build a fire pit? You know, you could roast hot dogs and wieners over it, but I like to bake, I like to cook, I like pizza and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm going to build something that I can enjoy as a fire feature, enjoy for cooking, and just for the aesthetics of it. So that's why I picked this idea. Well, I got to talking about it to some friends of mine at work, and they build the big Orno ovens. And I was thinking, well, that was a nice idea, but they're large. Now, my boss just happened to have completed building one of these, so I was going to show you some pictures of their build, and you can then see the difference in the way we built ours. And I mean, the end result is you can get bread out of it, right? But it's not always the easiest way to go. So I am going to turn, let's go back here. Can you guys all see this? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go back one more step. Oh, yes, I know. Cute cat pictures. I have to have them on my computer because I do like cats. And I have one weenie dog. You'll see his famous picture in here. So this is an actual Orno oven being built. And you let me know if that's clear enough for you all. I guess I sort of have to say it here. It is a very big one. This is their base ring that they built on it. And as you can see, there's 3 men standing around it.
Yeah, what's the diameter on that?
6, 7 feet.
It's
7 or
big.
8 feet.
Yeah. So I didn't need this size. But obviously with this one of us, they filled in the concrete with rock and concrete, smoothed it out, and they got a really nice base.
Okay.
Really neat idea. Okay. And then they put down their fire brick. This is going to be the base of their interior of their fireplace. This lady is the one, Swinsel, that does the artistry. That one's Roxanne, yeah, down there in Milwaukee. She's the one that helped them build it. And she's a very well-known artist, obviously. Everybody knows her, and I just love her work. She's showing here how she puts rocks in between the bricks to hold them together, and so that they can be spaced and sitting out, because these are adobe bricks. So these are your clay bricks. First rings down, obviously a place for the door, and then she starts up with the second layers, and just layering it with mud, and you can always see the tilt of the wall as it's starting to come in. She tilts it so that by the time it comes to the top, they're actually sort of sitting on top, sitting upright, the bricks. So it becomes a very, very safe structure and very, very hardy. And as we're going through here, you can see there's people inside of it. You can see the size this thing has. This is the very top ring, just before she closes it off. And there's it closed off. He's trimming out the doorway at this point. And I do have, in case people aren't getting good pictures here, I do have a printed set for you guys. So we will send that. This is the air hole that they put in the back. These traditional Ornos have a little hole in the back. When they go to bake, they will plug it up with a rock. They'll break out their coals, plug it up with a rock. The one I did was just a little bit different in that function. We'll go into that. This is it looking from the inside, looking up at it. So you can actually see there's Roxanne inside. and putting some detailed work on it, and that's it. From the outside again, more detailed work, the mud oven, and there you can see the beauty of that door frame. That door is just really nicely shaped and everything. And I will go back into that idea of what consists of the door. So, where's my little X button? It's over here. I'm driving backwards with my finger. So, that intrigued me. Why can't I do something like this? But I don't have that grand scale, you know, and I don't have the Adobes cost some money. I mean, they're not cheap. So I was looking for a good way to build me an oven that would be just for me and my family and my friends, that would give me this kind of capacity to be able to bake bread. So, on researching into the into the internet, I found this book, and I really enjoyed it. Everybody raved about it, said it was really good. So I thought I'd buy it. I went on Amazon, got it, and I started reading it. And it is a fascinating book, and it really does talk about how to go from mud to bread and the life cycle. And so that's what I'm going to describe to you, is how I got from this mud to this bread through my process. So let me get my notes here. So in this book, it describes the way to make these ovens, and they're made different than we see around here, and one person could do it. I did have my granddaughters helping me, and you'll see their pictures. Help is a relative term if you see what they did to me. But it was most fun having them there. So I am going to start by showing you the pictures and the sequence of pictures that I took to do this one in my backyard. So we started with a foundation, similar to the ones that they did down there. I did a square one. I already had a concrete pad that was an old shed pad, and I had taken down the old shed, so I thought, well, why can't I use it as my base? I built a concrete square. This is only 40 inches by 40 inches, so you can see the size difference. Poured concrete in each hole, and then filled in the center with crusher fine, because I had the mistake of buying 23 tons of crusher fine this year, and I found out how much that really does make. Had a little extra.
50,000 pounds.
I know.
Almost.
I did it all by wheelbarrow to the backyard, except for the little pile I gave away because I didn't need any more. I couldn't figure any other place for it. So we used it in there. Let me see, where's my forward button? Let me get down. Driving left-handed here. Where did we go? Oh, let me take a closer look. I look like I'm going closer in, and I don't want to be that way. There we go. I'm going in. There we go. I'll figure it out how to drive this thing yet. There. Okay. Let me get it on the right button. Then I know. Okay. Are we seeing it still okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is my granddaughter, and she is watering down that crusher fine so that we can pack it really hard. And she got in there and jumped up and down on it for me to really pack it in. It was great fun. This is her the next day helping me put down the fire brick, and as you can see, this is quite a few less fire brick than what they originally had in theirs. And this will be the front where the door will come out. She figured out how to hammer them down level and everything. She was a really great helper. This is their feet in the clay and the sand. We did it on a tarp. My instructions were keep it on the tarp, the plastic, and mix it really well. Can I say they did that? Yes. How they did that? Well, as you can see, most of it got on them. Before it was all said and done, we were doing belly flops in the clay. And they were doing a clay mask treatment. It worked really great, right? So they figured out, they did what they said they do, keep it on the tarp. How this instructs you to do it is that once you get this done, your foundation, you take a sand mound. And this, they said to use mason sand rather than play sand because it has the sharps in it and it will hold itself better. You wet it. This is 350 pounds of sand right here. And you build a dome that's 16 feet high, 27 inches in diameter. The reason you want that 16-inch height is because once your door is there, you want a 63% ratio between the door and the thing, and it'll draw your fire perfectly. They've done research on the native ovens, and found that that's about the perfect ratio for the draw of the fire. So that's what I did. I drew a ring and I built my dome. And this is just another picture of the sand dome. They say to put newspaper over it. I did. The wet newspaper in our arid country dries so fast and flies off, I couldn't keep up with it. So I said, oh, forget about it. I can figure out the layer between the sand and the dome, right? So I just said, I'm going to go with that. So what you do is you take this clay and you just go around your sand dome. You don't push into the dome, you just push it into itself. And then build it up, layer after layer. And there's my door frame that I drew in there. Cute wiener dog pictures. Shorty is there to demonstrate the size. He's a mess. He's 12 years old. Oh yeah. And that first one was my first experience. Like I said, this was a learning curve for me because I did not know how to do clay. I found out that I didn't have enough sand. I went back to the thing because I got cracks like that big in my first layer, and I thought, that's not going to work. So I went back, they said, you need more sand. Pulled it all off, it was halfway dried. Soaked it in water again, put 100 more pounds of sand in it, stomped it together, and then put the second try on. When I did the second try, I got smart and used a plastic bag over the sand dome because it doesn't blow away. So you'll see a plastic bag inside there. And there's the bag from the inside. This is what they call the insulation layer. This is clay and straw, and it's very wet and like a slip, and you just coat it on there until you're about 4 inches thick. You want them to both be about the same depth. And let that dry. And then when you start digging out the sand, and once it's dry and you dig out that sand, that dome should stay and everything. And there's the wiener dog in.
You made this just for me, didn't you?
In his new dog house. And that's my first fire. This fire is for drying. So it's drying from the inside out as well as the inside in, because you want to dry. Well, you guys all know this. I'm going to learn so much from you guys. So there's the fire close up. This is what I decided to do. After burning the first fire, I realized I want to sit in front of this if I want a fire feature, and I don't need